What I would like people to do is just eat healthy 6.5 days a week, cook all of your own meals, and then half a day on Sunday. You don't give a so you feel like a normal person, and you can, I had my sugar cake in this week, you want to eat some Haribo? Sure. But the rest of the time, just eat a healthy, balanced diet, throw your calories up and down, do your cardio. So I guess, it's worthy of a shot, basically, but I think it's pretty extreme. I think it's more extreme than a carnivore diet.
Equal.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both deficient in serious things.
Yeah, it seems that a carnivore diet is a little bit more sustainable, though.
Yeah. It's not sexy, but what if people just ate a balanced diet?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems so crazy, right?
But then we wouldn't have this hype of magic diets that work in tremendous ways.
Yeah, but if you
eat sugar all day and get shredded, isn't that more fun?
Yeah, but are you really going to get more shredded eating nothing but fruit all day? Probably not.
I think the only guys that really get shredded are the ones that also do a lot of exercise on this diet. So you see some cyclists that are fruitarians. Of course, their upper leg is as big as my forearm, if not smaller. They have zero muscle mass. But I do endurance sports, and it seems to work. But besides Chase, who just started this, Chase is basically the biggest guys, and all the other guys that really advocate this, they don't really have that big physique. Mark Bell's pretty jacked, Joe Binley is pretty jacked, but they got there on steroids.
Yeah.
And heavy lifting but the bodybuilder lifestyle or the powerlifting lifestyle, and now they just have to maintain. And again, I would like to see their physiques. Joe Binley has been doing this for a while, but I don't think he's putting on any size. So again, if you're just trying to sustain a nice TRT plus physique, that's very fuckable, then obviously it works. I just wonder the sustainability of it and the long-term benefits. There was one guy, I'll link that podcast down below. There's one guy who went into all of the science of FGF21, and he said it's probably not healthy to sustain this for longer periods of time because it just shows some deleterious effects in the animal models where long-term upregulation of FGF21 causes all kinds of problems. Yeah. I think 1 time a week is okay. I think fasting 1 time per week is also okay. And then you go with what you enjoy the most. Of course, I would enjoy eating fruit all day and then finishing the day off with a kilo of Haribo. Hell yeah. But yeah, fasting is cheaper. This is a lot cheaper. You don't have to do anything for it. You just grab a bottle of water. You don't have to cut any fruit. You don't have to peel shit. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg on Manuka honey. If you're gonna go with honey, you got to go with the best one, right? The antioxidant and the antimicrobial and the fancy pantsy. If you're gonna do a fancy diet, you got to go with the fancy honey, and then you can't go with the cheap candy that you get, the scooping out. You got to go with the high class Haribos, man. The $6 per bag Haribos,
and your $1 million biologics.
$1 million traffic room ups.
I mean, I even get questions like with the 5-day fast of. I put up that during the 5-day fast, I'll have our electrolyte plus that has D-ribose in it. And they're like, oh my God, it's a carb. And you're like, well, it's a non-insulinogenic carb or a non-glycemic carb. And then you put up, I have an energy drink. What about the sweetener? And an insulin response. I'm like, all throughout the day, you're having an insulin response. If you didn't, you'd be dead. So try and not think too much. Asking questions about sweetener and an energy drink causing an insulin response, stopping the beneficial effects of your fast. That in order to keep you alive, your pancreas is continuously balancing your blood sugar with insulin. That if you stopped that, you'd die.
Don't you wish you could do power slap over the internet? Like you charge it through the screen with the sound effects. Oh man. Yeah.
But it's like you don't mean to be Captain Obvious, but you're like, if you're really worried about the insulin spike of an energy drink, maybe stop breathing. Like that is how that's how nuanced and the arguments are becoming in the industry of if you have this sweetener, it's going to stop your intestine from having autophagy because of the insulin.
No. But it's the guys that question all these silly stuff don't even look good. They're not healthy. right? It's the ones that get stuck in the weeds with all this stuff.
Yeah.
have 80 other things going on that are wrong, right? But they're focusing on this. They're worried about the energy drink, but nothing else in their life is right. Maybe fix that shit first.
Yeah.
Then worry about the energy drink. Maybe get some sleep and you won't need the energy drink.
So sleep right, do some fasted cardio, eat healthy, eat a balanced diet.
Yeah.
But it's not sexy, man. It doesn't sell. You gotta do the new things, you know. It's consistency community. That's how we should call it. That will be the real name of it. But the drug community sounds better, man. Drug community, yeah. And then people are super worried about these you know, what is it called? The sweeteners. And they go absolutely nuts on that. I mean, I don't really consume sweeteners myself, but I don't think it's an issue unless you really overdo it.
No. I mean, what was that mouse study, Dean? What was the equivalent dose in a human? It was like a dump truck worth of sweetener.
Oh,
the one with the gut microbiome actually showed an improvement in the microbiome from the sweeteners.
Oh, yeah.
People got hung up on the title that it changed your gut microbiome, but if you actually read the study, it improved it.
People ask me these questions all the time about sweeteners, and you look at European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, that do all the health studies to speak or for human safety of certain food ingredients. And of course, everyone's going to have their own opinions on biased research and whatever else. Sucralose, we have to study with rats with the teratogenicity, where it affected DNA in huge dosages.
Yeah, I was going to say, what was the dose?
Or it causes changes to the gut microbiome. So does breathing in a load of polluted air or electromagnetic frequency radiation.
Fruit all day.
You know, so you start to then, like, when people question these things, you're like, there's so many variables here. Aspartame leading to methanol production in the body, which, yes, there is research that suggests perhaps if you're pregnant, you should not be having a lot of aspartame because of the methanol and the toxicity that could have to a baby. But again, that's a very special population. You have monk fruit, which is like, this is another thing that drives me nuts. We don't use any artificial sweeteners in our products, but it has stevia, it has monk fruit. And then you look at the research and they are both gut toxic and change your gut microbiome, that if you really want to be nitpicky, you'd use nothing, because then when you put sugar in a product, what you put sugar in the product for?
Yeah.
What I would like people to do is just to eat healthy 6.5 days a week, cook all of your own meals, and then half a day on Sunday, you don't give a fuck. And you can have your monk fruit and your artificial sweetener and your Ben & Jerry and your pizza. And so just for some normality, right? So you feel like a normal person, and you can, I had my sugar cake in this week, you know? You want to eat some Haribo? Sure. But the rest of the time, just eat a healthy, balanced diet. You know, throw your calories up and down, do your cardio, take a Dr. Dean stack, and shut the fuck up. At least that's affordable, you know?
Yeah. I mean, but people just don't want to do that.
And it's weird, but like, we just introduced something new that really, really works for most people, and then they want to go to the next best thing.
Yeah.
Because it didn't outdo the damage they were doing with all the other crap. Right?
You can't get 6% of your quadriceps with Mart.
They're like drinking beer and using SLU. And they're like, well, how come I'm not shredded yet?
Yeah,
well, this is exactly what I was going to say. I get messages all the time of, like, I've tried what you've trialed, Dean, and I've seen nothing. And you're like, well, if you're seeing nothing, then what question should you be asking yourself?
Did I do what Dr. Dean did?
You know, not even that, your mitochondria. Like, you're taking this thing to improve your mitochondrial efficiency. If your mitochondria are already operating like rubbish or crap, you've just made more of them that are working like crap. Like, you know, and they're like, oh, well, I was expecting more out of this. And it's like, this is like the cherry on the cake, that once you've got everything optimized, you're going to turbocharge it. It's not that you're coming in to take this and it's going to instantly change the landscape of your metabolism.
No, and not for nothing, lifting weights will downregulate mitochondria, right? And cardio will upregulate it. So why don't people start there? Like, balance the two of those things out first before taking a drug to try to make more for no reason when they're not doing any of the basic things.